Brindley, I just finished work.
Glad to hear, Colton. Today you stayed pretty late. Did you have extra work that you needed to get done?
Recently, things have been pretty busy for me there. Some of my higher-ups have been handing me more and more of their work to do.
But isn't that something you've been asking for, so that they'll all see how good of an employee you are?
But today I was hoping to get out of work a little earlier than normal. After all, I'm going over to your parents' house tomorrow to see everyone. I was thinking of stopping by the store on the way home to pick up a shirt to wear tomorrow.
You don't have to get any new shirts or anything before you come out to their place. My older brother is always just in a t-shirt and shorts while around the house. Well, I guess tomorrow should be a little more formal since it's your first time seeing the house.
What? But you have always been living under your brother's care, right? I'm sure to him he thinks of you as more of a daughter than a little sister.
Well, yeah, I guess so. He was the one that stepped in to raise me after my parents.
And that's the exact reason why I want to be looking sharp when I go see him. I want him to feel confident in letting you become part of my family, knowing that I'll always take care of you.
But I'm not too sure he's the kind of guy to really judge you based on what clothing you wear. He is always telling everyone not to worry so much about what he thinks of them when they come over to see him. And this time we're just going over for a lunch and to talk a little.
What? Is he really all right with things being so relaxed?
It's fine, Colton, it's fine. He doesn't really like things being all too strict either. He would much rather everyone be relaxed and have a good time.
Well, if you and your brother are fine with me just going there looking casual, I guess casual is what I'll do.
Great. Just beware that my parents' house is pretty old now, so don't be too surprised by what you see.
I won't be. I actually prefer places like older buildings and houses.
Well, this place isn't old in that regard. Also, considering you're such a bright person all the time, I'm sure my older brother and you will get along so well.
That would be wonderful. But he is more close in age to my father than me, so I wonder how close we can really get.
That's a good point. My brother is 10 years older than you and I. But another thing my brother really likes is the outdoors.
What? Are you serious? If that's the case, then I'm sure him and I will never run out of things to talk about.
He's also the kind of guy to listen to everything someone has to say. He did such a wonderful job raising me to be the same way, so I'm thankful for that. And I'm sure you'll be thankful for him too.
I'm actually getting quite excited about seeing him tomorrow.
That's great to hear. I'll be over to pick you up in my car around 12 tomorrow.
Okay. I don't want to get caught oversleeping, so once I get home, I'm heading right to bed.
Colton, how's your stomach feeling? Have you made it back home?
Yeah. My stomach is doing a lot better now.
Well, that's good to hear. My brother was pretty worried about you as well. He thought that maybe the lunch had caused you to start feeling those sudden stomach pains.
I don't think his cooking had anything to do with it. It wasn't like he picked up those hamburgers from some cheap grocery store or anything like that, right?
I don't think so. From what he told me, he got them at the local butcher just down the street. You think it has something to do with that?
There might be. If he was buying those burgers for $1 a patty, then they were probably not real meat to begin with. But if he got them at a local butcher shop, then I guess it's alright. I'm not sure how good the butcher themselves was, but...
Were the burgers not that good to you?
Honestly, I don't even remember what they tasted like.
You must have just been really nervous about seeing my brother then, right?
Nervous? It might have been the shock I was experiencing that caused me to blank out for a little bit.
What? What were you shocked about? There wasn't anything that crazy going on at the house, right?
I was shocked by your brother's line of work. I saw some workers' fatigues in the house when I was there.
And what about them?
What about them? What? That means your brother is a factory worker or something like that, right?
Huh?
What I'm asking is, does your brother work at a low-paying job or what?
What are you talking about? Don't tell me you're making fun of my brother right now.
No, I think your brother is very amazing for what he's done. He's only been able to make minimum wage every month, yet he was able to send you to college? That's pretty remarkable for a man like him. And now you're working for a really famous company and all. But look, both of you and I are pretty well-off people, right? On a higher level than most people in this town, per se. In my case, I've never been around anyone working jobs such as that of a factory worker, so I was just shocked to see one today.
Hey, do you realize that a lot of what you're saying right now is very bad and probably shouldn't be said again? You're sounding like one of those old men that judges people based off their line of work.
I'm sorry. I was just shocked is all.
Could that be the reason why during the middle of lunch you stopped saying anything? You found out that my brother has to wear fatigues like that to work?
That's not at all what caused me to stop talking. I was just stuck.
What were you stuck on? What does it matter to you, the kind of job that my older brother is doing right now?
I do believe that it has nothing to do with me, but I'm just wondering what my parents and the rest of my family will think of him. You probably already know this, but my family, well, they are all very well off, right? So that's why I'm a bit stuck on whether or not you can show your brother to my family at all.
What are you going on about? I never thought that you would ever say something like that.
No, I'm totally fine with your brother, but
No, you're not, and that's why we're having this kind of conversation now, right? You keep saying your family won't like him, but in reality, it's you that's upset with the kind of person my brother is, right?
well, just think about it for a second. When he has to meet my family at some point, I'm not sure he's going to have a very good time around all of them. You already know about how strict both of my parents are, and they will dig into him about the work he does and the amount of money he makes doing the said job. That's how my family judges people, no matter what else they've gone and accomplished in life. I think it would be better for my family not to meet your brother.
I don't think my brother will care about what they say.
I'm sure he might not care at first, but they will start to say terrible things to him, and that might create some bad drama in the family later. You wouldn't want that, right?
I'm sure there could be some light drama around it, but isn't that something that you should then step in and de-escalate?
Well, I can do my best. But I'm just putting it out there that it might be better to not have him see my family. To both your brother and you as well, you wouldn't want their views of him to ruin our chances of getting married, right?
How would that ever ruin our chances of getting married, Colton? The only thing that matters is how you and I feel about each other.
That is also true, but there's also a whole thing about how everyone else around us feels.
Is this you trying to tell me you don't want to get married then?
I want to marry you. I do. And that's why I'm so worried about your brother right now. I would much rather you and I get married with my family never knowing about your brother than him going to meet them and start to create some bad air between our families.
Is that really what you're worried about?
Anyhow, I would like it that your brother doesn't come and meet my family.
I think that he needs to meet with your family before our wedding. I want him to. Also, the reason I am the way I am, with all I've gained in life, is because of him. You should know that more than anyone, right? My parents both passed away when I was really young, and he was the only one that could step in and make sure I had a good life as both a kid and a young adult.
I understand that so much that I don't want my family to hurt him. Please, Brinley. Just do as I'm asking and keep him away from my family. After the wedding, you and I can make a date for him to come out and see everyone. As of right now, I'm not really sure what my parents would do or say.
Understood. But if my brother asks me why he hasn't been invited out to see anyone, I'm going to tell him the truth.
All right, that's totally fine. I'm sorry about today. Can you please let your brother know that I'm doing a lot better now? Brinley, this is about the wedding. My father is asking about what you think about the hotel he recommended for the wedding.
What? That hotel is known for hosting all kinds of weddings for very famous people, right? And the place will cost a lot, right?
Don't worry about it. My parents are going to be giving us some money to help pay for the wedding, it seems. And a lot of my other family members will also be pitching in.
I understand that, Colton. But I think that kind of a hotel and everything is a little too gorgeous for both you and I.
Why do you say that? I think both you and I deserve to have a gorgeous wedding there.
Can I ask my brother what he thinks about it?
Ask your brother. What do you want to ask him?
Because it looks like my brother saved up some money for my wedding as well. He told me before that he wanted to help pay for my wedding.
What? You're joking, right?
I'm not joking, Colton.
I don't think he really has that much money to help with this kind of a wedding, though. Are you sure it's not just a couple of thousand that he saved up?
From the way he was saying it, it looks like he has a bit more than just a few thousand.
By the way, we're not having your brother come to this wedding. So go tell him he doesn't have to help pay for it.
Huh? What did you just say?
The only people coming to this wedding are those that make a lot of money.
Are you kidding me right now? You are planning to invite some of your normal friends like I have, right?
As long as they are people from the same college you went to. But someone like your brother, I don't think he'll fit in with the rest of the crowd. People that never went to college won't be at this wedding, so he might feel out of place there.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now. Colton, what has gotten into you? You were never this kind of person before, right? The thing I always loved about you was how open you were to everyone and never seemed to put anyone down.
And those people that you want to treat as important to you, I'll do my best to treat just as important. But when it comes to something like the wedding, a lot of people from my family will be there. I understand that the most important thing about this wedding is you and I, but having your brother there at something so important to my family, well, I really don't want my parents and family knowing about the kind of work that he does.
You've sunk really low today.
I don't want to say things like this, Brinley. But in my family, there are only elites and those that run companies full of elites. Having a lowlife come to our wedding would just upset them.
So you're calling my brother a lowlife now?
That's right. Your brother is not like the rest of us. And if you're going to be part of this family, I would like that you stop staying in touch with said lowlives as much as possible.
It's crazy how you can just say something like that to me. I was a real idiot for letting things last this long. We're through, Colton. No more marriage or anything.
Huh? Why are you breaking up with me now? I'm just asking that your older brother doesn't come to the wedding is all. You guys can continue to talk to one another, if you want, behind my back. You're really going to tell me you don't want to get married because of that lowlife?
Tomorrow, you're not going to have a job anymore. My brother happens to be a very important customer of yours. So you've really done it to yourself now, calling him a lowlife like that.
A customer of mine?
If you have no clue what I'm talking about, go ahead and ask some of your higher-ups about him. That's all I can say now. And just know that this marriage between you and I is off. Goodbye forever.
I'm sorry, Brinley. I've learned my lesson now. Now would you please let me have a word with your brother?
There is nothing else that my brother and I have to say to you.
But I have plenty to say to him. After my boss and everyone else heard what your brother's company said to us, they were all pissed off. If something doesn't change for the better here, I'm going to be in real trouble. Please let me talk to him so that I can apologize for all the things I said about him.
Is that really what you want to do? Or are you only wanting to apologize so that you can save your own skin? Because from the looks of it, you really did not like the fact that my brother was different than your family.
I'm telling you, I had the wrong idea of him then.
How did you have the wrong idea of him? He works in a factory, like you had said, so that means you feel the exact same way about him as you did a few days ago.
Wait, but I had no idea that your brother was doing more than just working on the factory floor. I didn't know he was also part of the team that worked with my company. And he said he never went to college, right?
Ever since high school, my brother has put in a lot of effort working. He went and got himself all kinds of licenses and moved up within the company he's been a part of. And right now, he's at the point where the current CEO loves him. That's how long he's been working for that company and how much effort he's put in for them.
But I had only ever worked with that company's marketing department. Had I known about who he was, then I would never have said such things about him. You should also feel at fault for some of this, considering you didn't even tell me more about him, right?
Even before you started to make fun of my brother, the way you were talking about his line of work turned me off. And even now, my brother is still working time to time on the factory floor, which means that you would have still made fun of him regardless of whatever else I told you about him. Inside of you, Colton, those that work in factories equal lowlives, right?
But come on now, Brinley. This is insane.
What would have happened had I told you the name of the company my brother works for?
Had I known about where he is working, I would have changed my behavior right then.
That's what I thought, and that's why I didn't say anything. I had just assumed you were being a little strange at the time, and after those few slights against my brother, you would have stopped and moved on. But you just kept going and going and going, the next thing out of your mouth being worse than the last. Things were going from you just being strange to straight up rude. And then after a little while longer, I know you were really against him and looked down on him. That's why we're not getting married anymore.
Your brother and his job and your relationship to me shouldn't have anything to do with one another, right?
You really think that I want to marry a man and become a part of his family when he's talking crap about my own brother, who is also like a father to me?
Are you trying to tell me that your brother is more important to you than I am? You really were going to marry me, even though you love him more?
I wanted to marry you because I loved you as a man, as someone that could be my husband. But my brother, I love him as my family, and someone that I will never turn my back on. So when you started to talk like that about him, making fun of his job and calling him a lowlife, my love for you had vanished. The reason we are through is because I finally found out what kind of a person you really are.
I've already shown you to my parents, though, and everything. And all of my friends know about how I will be marrying you. My higher-ups, are you trying to destroy my mental health or something?
I knew it. You really are only trying to save yourself right now. All that's going to happen is everyone will find out that you weren't good enough for me. And at work, they will all continue to be upset at you for souring a partnership that my brother's company had with yours. All you have to do is say you're sorry to all of them and move on. My brother and I don't feel sorry for any of that, though, because we didn't cause any of it. And I'm sure you don't feel sorry for us, do you?
I do, though. Seriously. I know that I did some very stupid things.
Well, it's too late for you to start regretting things now, Colton. I'm sure that at some point you're going to have to say sorry to my brother in order to not have his company stop working with yours. So you can have a word with him then. But as for you and I, this is it.
Please don't say something like that to me. Brinley, I really am sorry. I will apologize to both of you in person for not only talking horribly about him, but for breaking your heart as well.
People don't just change within a few days, you know. To be frank, I don't think you and I are meant for one another. Marriage would have never worked out, and we would have ended up getting a divorce.
I don't think that's true, though. You have a very smart head on you, and you went to a very wonderful school. You are working for a large company now, and that makes you perfect for me. Can't you see that?
After having come this far, the fact that you are only still thinking about things like my education and where I work is why you are not meant for me. Have you not cared about anything that has to do with the person I am on the inside?
I have cared about that. That's why I felt more compatible to you than anyone else. I made sure to do everything I could to get you to love me. I am sorry for the way I think sometimes, but that's due to the fact that everyone around me are pretentious elites. I am the victim here.
That's enough from you. I failed to do the same thing as you, and that was caring and thinking about the true person that you are. I seriously never noticed, with all the time spent around you, that you were such a jerk on the inside.
Brindley, please don't call this marriage off between you and I. Please.
I'm sorry. I will not be able to live a happy life as the wife of some man that thinks it's okay to belittle others like that.
I will change for you, though. Brindley, please forgive me. I really do love you, Brindley. I always have and always will.
I think all of those things you were saying are things you shouldn't be saying if you really loved me. Also, I've been told this by my brother for a long time now. He's told me that any person who thinks it's okay to talk down to others is a lowlife on the inside and should never be bothered with. And that is why this relationship between you and I is officially no more. After that, I was able to get the point across to Colton that things between him and I were really over and we would not be getting married. Of course, there is still a lot more that will happen after this event, though. Such as what'll happen to Colton and the company after what he had said about my brother. I'm not sure how those two companies' relationship will turn out in the end, but what I do know is that the CEO of my brother's company was upset to hear about what Colton had said and made sure to pass all of that along to Colton's higher-ups. Worrying that Colton was not cut out to work in anything that had to do with other companies, the company went and moved Colton into another department. Also, some talk started to arise about how Colton was always treating those that made less than him in the company with pretty rude behavior. So now he's begun to lose a lot of respect from his friends and coworkers, and will most likely become a loner as time goes on. I hope that all of this will teach him about how it's not okay to belittle others, no matter what they do or don't do. I am so happy that I learned about the true Colton before we got married, and had time to break up with him before having the wedding. I was apologized to by my brother because he started to blame himself for being the reason that I had to break up with Colton. But I told him that it's because of him that I had the strength to leave a man like Colton and move on with myself. That's why I want my brother to be happy about what's happened and not feel any need to apologize for it. And honestly, I want him to know just how much I respect the line of work he's in. He started at the lowest level of that company and grinded all the way to being in a department that helps the company expand. That, to me, is someone that I consider more elite than anyone inside Colton's family. And because of that, I promise to never forget about all my brother did for me and my future, and all the struggles he had to go to in order to be where he is now. That goes for all the people in my life that have supported me and raised me. But when it comes to my brother, there really is a special place in my heart for him, and the way I think about him most is of him in his worker fatigues getting ready to head right back to work. Honestly, right now, I'm not ready to look for anyone to date or marry anymore. But someday, when that drive to find someone special in my life does come again, I want them to be just like my brother, and nothing less.